And then another one I had was with like being part of the Patreon, we could have it so like when we do interviews, you can have like a special, like the person could be like a special guest that joins us, and then they could be part of the interview, or you can add questions and things that we can take to draw out of a hat or stuff like that. So
I definitely
Where are
think
we
that
gonna
that
get this
second
at?
option is the better one, because otherwise
there's actually like a draw out of hat
people
program.
and it's
Yeah, well, I thought we were
already
for the
quite a few of
videos and
us.
stuff, but yeah. Anyways, welcome to the Let's Talk Show. We're live right now, doing pretty good.
Oh!
I'm impressed.
No, we're not.
We're live. We're live on the Twitches. We're not live on the YouTubes.
Now we are.
Yeah, we're not live on the YouTubes, but we are live on the Twitches. Hello, people in Twitch land. We are discussing options and things and figuring out what we do while we do technical difficulties, and we're still not live on the YouTube. But I see someone smirking with a big ass grin, like he's finished his job.
He's finished his job. Oh, you're not done yet.
I'm sorry.
You thought you did something there, didn't you? With your quiet, not say anything while we're live and listen to us chat. I hope everyone's enjoying this right now. I see you, sir. So,
and I raise you up, busted.
I raise you a busted, yeah. You were so cute, didn't you? That's so funny. Well, everyone watching on Twitch, welcome to the talk show.
Hi, listen to C4 die.
Again, just like every other week.
Yeah.
Inside, as we do the talk show.
This time
talk about on the outside.
That also a little bit, one step at a time. Hey, there we go. Now we're live on the YouTubes.
You can watch the life drain from his eyes.
I still don't know what's going on in YouTube. I don't know.
We're still not live on YouTube.
YouTube hates you.
We're live on YouTube.
It's more like I just
It says waiting for.
It's live on my end.
Creepy.
And then
anyway, hello everyone. I'm sorry we are late. Welcome to the Villains Talk Show.
We wouldn't be the Villains Talk Show if we weren't a little bit late once in a while.
How is everyone tonight?
Am I solidly alive? That's how I am.
Bursting with fruit flavor.
No, I'm not laggy. God damn. There's so many problems today.
That's every day, kid.
All the problems.
No, sometimes it's vegetable flavor.
Vegetable flavor problems?
Anyway. Hello and welcome to the Villains Talk Show and Podcast. We are the Villains. I am C4.
At least it's better than just
beside his greasy boy, further down is
Sarah. We're just like being stuck to some one number.
And we are here to talk about
are we here?
Random.
I don't know.
No, we're there.
Random bullshit that apparently you out in cyberspace listen to. So we provide the bullshit that you then shovel into your ear holes, and we have a mutual relationship. We do it for free, and you consume it for free. It's a beautiful cycle.
If you could check out Buzzsprout if you want to start your own podcast. Be sure to check them out. It's a wonderful platform, and we get our setup on Buzzsprout. And yeah, you could do it today. You could be your own talk show and podcast, just like us. And we all appreciate all of you.
Or you could just, you could like or whatever, or like join,
like, follow, subscribe,
the pander,
obey, and
pander,
the pander button. Welcome to the Minions Hub.
I really, really want the pander button to be like a panda, so we can.
That could be something once we get like custom Twitch emojis. That could be like everyone will just tell all the Twitch people to hit the pander button, and it'll just be a bunch of pander buttons in the chat.
And then the last thing I got to shout out is our only Patreon at the Minion Hub, and that is For the Wheel. Thank you for the only one who actually supports us, financially. I you know what? I don't know how, but it happened.
Appreciate you, wonderful people. If you feel the need and want to be a Minion today, check it out. Join our Patreon. We love you so much. If you do, we'll shout you out and talk about you like you're a wonderful human being, because you are.
Pandering done. Today we're as the title suggests. I'm actually super excited for this one. Really honest,
it's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be so good.
And by good we mean terrible.
So I wrote the title as bad parenting advice because I need it to cover what we actually are talking about, which is We're telling fucking parents how to raise their goddamn shits that they call children.
I'm just speaking from personal experience. I would not recommend following our advice to the villains disclaimer here and there, things and stuff. Don't do the stuff that we say on live TV because it might hurt you. Blah blah blah.
Fuck that. I worked at a daycare. I know what those little shits are like. I'm ready to unload some parenting advice on these
I've been little shit once or twice, so I think I have an idea of what that looks
sure?
like.
Just once or
Once
twice?
or twice. An hour, maybe.
That is definitely for sure. Maybe at least an hour out of my day. Probably every day.
That sounds like an hour you weren't, and that's probably when you were sleeping. Actually, I could see you still be a shit while you were sleeping.
I could.
No, because then I'd have to clean my bed sheets all the time. That wouldn't be good.
Ba-doop boop. Toilet humor.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy somebody got my dad joke.
Insaniac plays a parent in D&D, and he's terrible.
I didn't sign up for that, and had I had a choice, I don't think I would have ever been
playing a parent's different.
My fucking god.
I'm not talking about
my mind has been blown.
I'm talking about parents that are just shit parents. That you watch their child as they're in a department store scream and run around and like just act like an absolute animal, and the parent does nothing. And as soon as you say anything to their child, they get mad at you. And you're like,
because they're starved for their.
That's what I'm talking about.
Unattentive
I'm
parents.
talking about the horrible people.
Talking about the parents get mad at you.
to me.
I'm talking about the parents that Sara dreads to see at parent-teacher interviews because she knows nothing she's gonna say is gonna make them have a better time.
Yeah.
No, it's just a reflection of themselves, honestly.
Right.
When you see a kid that can't figure their shit out, it's usually because their parent can't either.
That's what I want to talk about. Those people.
It's true.
The people that have children and they probably shouldn't have had children.
Yeah, the people that have kids to make like a marriage better, it usually doesn't work. From what I've seen, most of the time.
That's the worst.
You see, that's an assumption. People having a child to make the marriage
most
better.
Of the time, you're absolutely right.
Nowadays, it's more like they have a child when they shouldn't have because mommy or daddy didn't wear a condom.
Not really. Actually, unplanned pregnancies are going down.
That's fair. I was not.
It's actually really common for people to have a baby to fix their marriage, hoping that it'll make things better, and it never does.
Does.
But no, that doesn't help. That just makes everything worse because now you have the same problems plus a tiny human to take care of plus no sleep.
And this tiny human who does not want.
And then you raise the tiny human to be an absolute menace to society.
Yep.
Because he raises to be pissed at his mom, pissed at his dad, or they. Sorry, I shouldn't assume it's a he, because that wouldn't be very nice.
Or they're raised with their listening to their parents fight all the time.
Exactly. And
so advice number one:
people they become Karens. They become Karens when they go out in the world.
Advice number one: don't have a kid to save your marriage.
Exactly. Advice rule number one:
that's a good.
Don't have a fucking kid to save your marriage.
This is actually good advice so far, though.
Because if you do that, I don't care if you're a male or a female. If you're deciding to have a kid to save your marriage, there is nothing about that screams you aren't a piece of shit.
Or that your marriage is failing.
No. I don't want anyone listening to get any kind of idea like, oh no, it could work in this facet. No.
No.
Every angle makes you a piece of shit. And if you're thinking like that, you should really turn your thinking around and be like, why am I such a natural piece of shit?
Everyone's attention for our viewers listening, please tell us in the comment how much we aren't parents and how we don't know anything about what we're talking about. It would make our day.
Watch us give some of the
best part about being not a parent is the fact that just because I'm not a parent doesn't mean you can't see that a bad parent is.
You know what? But we are the people that are most affected by those pieces of shit because another parent does not care about another child. Really, it's us.
Oh yeah,
the people without kids who absolutely loathe when we see a child walk into that store and start crying, and you're like, dude, fucking just backhand the bitch and tell her to shut the fuck up.
To quote Stephen Hofstetter, just because there's a plane in the tree, that doesn't mean that the person in the plane fucked up. That was clearly the pilot. That was pilot error. That plane should not be in that tree. That was a mistake on the person leading the plane.
Yeah. I never want to have kids, and every time I go into a store and see a child pitching a fit, it just reinforces like, nope, never happening.
I love that you work in a school. Your job is to educate children, but the last thing you want is children. Like it's just an absolute.
They're okay once they're like 11. Until then, it's just hell.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to babysit.
Also,
for money.
you know what's really great about
I never had to babysit.
Getting to spend time with kids, but not being their parent? When they get annoying, you can give them back to their parent.
That's probably
what?
When I worked at a daycare during Stampede, and the way it worked is parents were not allowed to drop off their kids. The parents were there the whole time when we did like activities with their kids, right? But there were big signs the whole time that would always say, "Oh, now everyone has their camera off, you bastards." There was big signs that say, "Do not leave your kid here. Do not leave your kid unattended." So on and so forth, right? And people would leave like their 5-year-old to like 4-year-old children alone and just walk away. And
that sounds about right.
And we're like,
people are crazy.
Are you fucking kidding us? Like, we're like 16, 17-year-olds. What are you expecting us to look after? You're a fucking baby? And it was unbelievable some of the things that people would, some of the parents would say to their kids. Or like 9 times out of 10, because there were fights. Like every so often you'd have to pull kids away from each other. But be honest, kids always played nice with each other. They just want to play. Parents though, fucking like you'd always have one parent who just starts all of a sudden out of nowhere. The kids are playing nice. One parent will turn to another and be like, "Your kid just stole this from my child," and they just start fucking screaming. And so our supervisor always had security on speed dial because us and the bar, Nashville North, we'd have the most fights between the parents and their children and the fucking drunks. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, at the Stampede, a lot of the parents probably are the drunks as well.
That's what makes it better.
So you probably have a lot of overlap there.
You can't talk to my child.
Nice.
Vomits everywhere. It's pancake breakfast.
The pancake breakfast.
Never do it again. Go ahead, Jimmy. Let's go home. It's time to get
So
the train.
my husband worked at the Lego store for a few years in a big mall, like the biggest mall in our area. And at one point they actually had to call like mall security and CPS, and it was this whole like multi-hour long ordeal because a child was left there for hours. And it turned out that this like 8-year-old had walked across a super busy street to get there alone, and their parents were totally on board with it. And there's tons of like kidnappings and abductions from there too. It was just wild.
Wait,
parents just don't even care until like shit goes wild, and they're like, "Oh no!" Like,
from Legoland, like from the Lego store.
Yeah, like in Chinook.
Yeah, man.
That's wild.
Right?
That surprises you.
That doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm surprised, actually.
Shit like that happens right out in the open, man.
No, not the abductions. Guys, not the abductions. That's stuff that doesn't surprise me. It's the parents.
That doesn't surprise me.
Like,
that doesn't surprise me either.
This is why this is why I did this topic. Like, you cannot tell me I am not allowed to give you motherfucking advice. If you're gonna leave your motherfucking child at a Lego store, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
along those lines.
Yeah. At that point, I have every fucking right to give you advice.
That's
like the Lego store is not a babysitter.
Yeah.
No.
Any kid above, I'm gonna make a general kind of idea, and I'm gonna be probably wildly off, but at least 8 to 9 years old, you should probably be well within your children most of the time. Of whatever the fuck they're doing, just because of being a parent, just care about your kids. That's it. It's really
at that age they're still so young.
Yeah, at least You know, I had to stay on my own when I was a kid like that. Like,
I mean,
10, but I had an older brother. I had.
It's
other people,
okay if
it's...
like I understand if like you they're outside in the backyard. If you have an older child who's maybe like 13 or 14, taking them to the park, you know what I mean? Like you take precautions. Like you don't have to be so like tight fisted over your goddamn child. You wear a leash on them, but
You should
at least have eyes on your kids.
Fuck, man, yeah.
At the very least, just see them once in a while.
You might as well just staple steel me on their back.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't understand. And like you have like those kids nowadays that are turning into carrots too, that are like screaming and yelling at people for like that are just doing their own things.
Do you say they're turning into carrots? Because I agree.
Carrots too. Yeah.
Oh, Karens. I said carrots. I keep thinking.
That could work too.
They're turned into carrots. A mixture of Karens and children.
That works too. That's exactly.
You know what? We're gonna coin that term right now. Yeah. If they're both a child and a Karen, they're carrots. They're carrots.
Like a kakarot.
Goddamn carrots.
Yeah, and those kids, like, you just do anything and they snap. You know, like that Listen Linda kid, right? Like, that video's hilarious, but that kid is going to be sassy as fuck when he grows up. Like, you can just tell, right? Because he's just not, no shit's given. He's just, no.
Listen,
no,
Linda.
no.
Listen, Linda.
Yeah. Right? It's so funny, but, like, how can you take that seriously? And how is that kid ever gonna like really be in a regular conversation ever again? And people are gonna be like, listen, no, you listen, no, listen. Like, really? He's now a meme star that's never gonna get away from that.
It's like the guy who did Chocolate Rain. Think about everywhere he goes, even when he has children, they'll be like, hey, you have to sing the song. Right?
Oh, yeah, or the Nan guy, right? Or the Maya
but
guy.
That's the plague of having famous people as parents.
Yeah.
But although, don't get me wrong, right? Just because you're famous doesn't mean you can't be a shit parent.
Theoretical dollars. My net worth is theoretically over $1 billion.
Well, if we're going by that, then Laughing Baby is worth over 14 billion theoretical dollars. Damn you, laughing baby. Always laughing at me. No, but don't think famous people get away from that. In fact, they're so like. Remember when I almost said the word when that horrible.
Don't trip over your tongue now.
Trying to think of a way. I hate Michael Jackson. I try to think of a more creative way to call him a piece of shit in different ways. But remember when that piece of shit took his baby and like dangled it outside of a balcony,
like a Lion King?
Yeah. The people blanket. Yeah, that was a little wild.
There's a lot of shit.
Michael Jackson was a strange time in history. I'm going to be honest. He was a great singer, but what the fuck?
Tell that to all the kids he touched.
That's why I said, what was going on in his head? His music was cool, but what the fuck was going on in his mind? You know, like, I don't know. He wasn't okay. He was okay, but he was not.
Billie Jean was not his lover because she was over 18. That's
quite possibly true. I'm going to leave that as a speculation at that.
You don't. I'm just going to say you don't settle out of court over charges of pedophilia. You do not settle out of court. That is something you fight to the end if you're innocent. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He's not the only one. Imagine being like fucking Tom Cruise's kids,
or like Britney Spears' kids when she was going through her fucking breakdown.
Yeah, like imagine being
your head.
But at least Britney, like, I would say, I mean, no one knows, but the documentary and stuff, it looks like she's made a turnaround. She's no longer under her dad's. They took away that order, so she blah blah blah. But I'm thinking more like think of Tom Cruise, right? You're a Scientologist. You're fucking nuts. You've divorced 5 women, and you have like 3 or 4 kids. Like, I wonder if they even see him. They probably.
I think fame just breaks people at a certain point, and having that much kind
of
idea,
because there's a lot. No, there's a lot of famous people who do not turn into fucking.
Those are the ones
psychos.
So sure, yeah. Maybe like Keanu Reeves.
Like,
He's
like
the
look
only
at
one I could kind of say that
Ryan
confidently.
Reynolds
He's a nice guy.
seems
Ryan
really
Reynolds is a
sweet.
good guy.
Look
I
at
would say.
Richard
I don't know
Gere.
him personally, but
Okay, Richard Gere, the star of Chicago and a bunch of movies, he decided to take 10 years off acting for his own mental health. That's called a smart actor.
That
absolutely.
also says that acting's not good for your mental health.
Exactly, right? If you're in it,
Well, yeah, no.
go crazy.
Look what happened to poor Heath Ledger. He
I was
broke.
gonna say, if you look at some of the poor actors that have broke on the way, like Heath, and there was another one. I'm gonna call out to this. To this isn't exactly acting, but it's a type of acting to wrestling. When Chris Benoit had a very very dark turn. I had
That was
tickets to that
acting.
wrestling.
That was technically acting.
I had tickets to that show, and it got canceled.
Shout out to the Hitman.
Like, I can't, I don't know what happened to them, but that he lost his mind too.
Oh wait, no, you're not talking about the Hitman Heart. You're talking about no,
we're talking about Chris Benoit.
When he went crazy and murdered his family.
Yeah, that's the one.
He did it savagely too. He fucking beat his wife to a pulp.
I don't know what to say in that regard, but I hope they're in a better place. And
what was his ultra move? The Wolverine.
I don't know. Everything part of that has kind of exited my memory at that point because it was just really
the Wolverine.
Really bad.
I remember Chris Benoit. I loved him. He was a great fighter.
I enjoyed him on the screen.
But he was French Canadian, man. Those people are all motherfucking nuts. You heard just P talk?
Please. Douchebag comes in all sizes and it speaks in every language. And it has every
in Quebec, yes, I know. That's all of them.
It sounds like I've met a couple already too in the western side of things. Let me tell you, most of them are
Quebec?
homeless and demand for money, and then yell at you for not giving them money, and then be belligerently drunk because they're upset that they're drunk, but not drunk enough to sit here and figure out their life. Welcome to the homeless in Alberta.
Yeah, Quebec.
Someone who's not French Canadian, you got really upset over that comment.
I'm not.
You really did.
I'm Canadian.
You got a little salty over that.
That's because I don't appreciate.
That's daily flavors.
Welcome to Insanieac.
I'd like to say he's more of like a sea salt.
So yeah, let me throw my salt vigorously
it's
here
an
and there.
Ever pouring salt
to balance out the ever growing mountain.
That's the flavor of his tears.
Yeah, orphan tears. Salty
Everyone's
orphan tears.
are salty.
Yeah, no, Insanieac's tears taste like the ocean, and if you listen,
man, I hope so. I hope so. That makes me feel better. Thank you.
Every time you taste his tears, you think of the 98 Degrees song. I wanna swim like in the ocean. I wanna feel like you in the sea.
Yeah, if you can't tell, Insanieac doesn't sit well with prejudgment. Doesn't go very well.
Well, anyways, you guys want to hear some more parenting advice from someone who sees kids in school every day?
Oh, totally. Please.
Don't give your teenagers smartphones. If you really feel the need to get in touch with them, give them like a dumb phone.
Give them a flip phone.
Yeah, exactly. I actually see
a
a huge difference. Like, I work with grade 9, so it's like half and half that have smartphones and don't. And there's a huge difference in just the way they interact with the world and do learn things. Like, actually put in effort and learn things.
It just takes one kid to have a job for literally like a month and a half and they can buy a smartphone.
True. Well, to an extent, they can't necessarily get a plan without a credit card or someone who's 18, but...
No.
Freedom.
They can get freedom, though.
There we go, see?
Freedom mobile.
I'm through freedom. It's not a plan. You just pay it.
Pay as you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not for everyone, but I'm just telling you.
Yeah. It makes things harder, but at the same time, like, it really is a huge difference. The ones who have that access to social media, just like at their fingertips, you can tell.
That's bad parenting. I completely agree.
Yeah, exactly.
You stick a phone in their face and then you say, you learn. I mean, okay, like, I love my parents, but they made the worst mistake of giving me a cell phone at 13. Because I figured out that you could go to the office and write a form without ever bringing your parents in that say your whatever number is your new number, and all they have to do is call it and verify. And so I made it my cell number, and they called it, and they verified. I just picked up the phone and said, "Yep, this is the house phone. I'm at home. I picked it up." And they're like, oh, okay. And all of a sudden, all through high school and the rest of junior high, whenever I skipped school or anything and they called my house phone, it was just my cell phone. Just call my cell phone. Yeah. And like I got away with so much shit. My parents didn't know anything that was going on because every time I get the call, I would just ghost it. And then they got mad at my parents because they're like, you never pick up the phone, blah blah blah, and all this. And my dad just, what number do you have?
That's hilarious.
Oh no.
On a similar note too, up until like actual high school, make your kids do their homework.
Make them?
I don't know if they need to actually do it.
You should do it with them, I think is the best way to kind of say that.
Depends on the age.
My dad could not intimidate me enough to give a shit about my fucking homework. I knew enough in the class to be like, oh, you got to do your homework. I don't care. I can choose to pass the class without doing the homework as someone who was aware of the subject. Not everyone's in that state, so you should absolutely sit with your kids and discuss with them and show them.
Their homework are the kids that are in that state.
Yeah, well, and sometimes you don't have parents, right? So if you're a parent who's not aware, it helps a lot because then you're going to learn a lot at the same time, right? Because you're learning with your children. And that's something that you can bond over that a lot of parents, I don't think, really understand.
Yeah, honestly, absolutely. But yeah, I have so many kids that, I don't know, their parents are constantly like just relying on me to do it with them. And it's like, I literally don't have time in the day. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you've got to find time.
I'm going to say 30 to 40 students usually. It's a little much.
Right? Like, there are 10 students in this class that I work with closely. And we have maybe like half an hour, if we're lucky, to do homework in a day. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Usually, in a lot of time, at least when I was a student, I found like doing in-class work, like it was nice and stuff, but for the most part, it still wasn't like effective to actually get any work done. And even then, like when I got home, I wasn't concerned about it really for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.